Swan Josh Kennedy, who drew first blood.
Long kick, goal, first at the ground final.
Franklin, oh yes he has! That was magnificent! The Swans are going to have to do something remarkable.
Suckling could kick this, he's brilliant on the left foot.
The best team of the modern era of the last 50 years produces its masterpiece.
Holland, going third ball. Third one, Karen's in the washed up. Yeah!
Can you believe it? That could be one heck of a way to finish the innings.
Smith heaves it away, that'll do it. Steve Smith fittingly hits the winning runs. And Australia are champions of the world.
Philip Hughes had many standing ovations, but none like this. 63 seconds of applause to mark his final unbeaten score.
Yeah, we do have a 13th man. I think we will have well, certainly for the rest of our careers, that's for sure.
The crowd was back on its feet when David Warner reached a special milestone.
That has to be the most important 63 that David Warner's made.
Steve Smith reeled off his 5th Test century and left no doubt who it was for. I think he might be walking over to the number on the ground here to recognise Phil Hughes, and that's terrific stuff.
Now boat goes long. Westhoff and Ryder can raffle it. Westhoff with a juggling attempt. The umpire says play on. It was touched. Doesn't matter because he just goes around the corner and drills the goal. They've got 5 in a row, Port Adelaide. Segler knocked down Boak again. It's going to go deep. Hartman high. I tell you what, that's coming back enough. That is an incredible goal. Hartman from the intersection of 50 and the boundary.
Still going. What a run this is by Tariq Elrich. Still he goes on Elrich. Oh, what a goal! That's a contender for goal of the season by Tariq Elrich.
Tried to burst through Eddie Betts. Not his pocket. No way, not from there. Feed the frenzy, Eddie.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome along to the Adelaide Oval. Now, I know that there are probably many people in this room that have had the opportunity and the luxury to enjoy an event in this room so far over the past couple of years since it's open. But if you have a quick look around, I think this is the biggest crowd I've seen in this room. Just about tables, chock-a-block, wall to wall, 560 plus. So well done to everyone for coming along. I think it's a wonderful effort. It is the inaugural Prostate Cancer Foundation Bring Back the Friday Lunch. And why shouldn't we bring back the Friday lunch? I know a lot of corporate people have had to wind things back over the past couple of years, and the red wines and the Friday afternoon probably hasn't been enjoyed as much as it might have been in the past. So great opportunity today. I hope most of you have written off the afternoon in terms of work, so you can sit back, relax, as we do raise the awareness here of prostate cancer here in South Australia. On behalf of the foundation, there are some supporters and sponsors I would like to thank, so just bear with me for a moment as we do acknowledge their wonderful support. To Channel 7, thank you very much. Solitaire Automotive Group, Dr. Jones and Partners, ClinPath Laboratories, Device Technologies, Baker Young Stockbrokers, Harcourts, the Vader Group, Raw Pearls, Smart Posts, Novatech, and also D Business Events. So thank you to all of those organisations for getting on board to ensure that we can put today on. We're going to raise some coin today because what we want to do is continue the fantastic research into prostate cancer, but we also want to ensure we can maintain the support for prostate cancer survivors and their families. I know many people in this room have had more than a brush with prostate cancer, whether it's been something direct or whether it's been through family members. So it is something that we need to talk about. Sometimes it's put to the back of people's minds, and even some people feel it's a bit of a stigma associated with it, but there's nothing wrong with getting it out in public and talking about the need for all men to make sure that they are tested. The test itself can be quite interesting, I know, but it doesn't always involve what you expect. Initially, for some men, don't be afraid, because it might be a blood test initially. It might only mean the follow-up where you need to go and get a first or second opinion there. All right, auction-wise, when we're going to raise some money, silent auctions are around the room. You've probably seen them, had the opportunity while we're listening to the Police Dixie Band, and thank you to them as well for getting us started off. Auction items all around the back of the room there. Now, you've probably been to events before where you've seen this is done electronically. If you haven't, bear with me for a moment. I'm going to put the details up on the screen here. Pretty much you can follow things with a leaderboard as we go throughout the day. To give you an idea, you need your phone, of course, your smartphone. If you don't have a smartphone, make sure you're sitting next to someone who has. What you need to do is have them on silent, of course. And if you haven't already registered, because I know many of you have been sent out details through emails, if you haven't already registered, you need to text the word lunch to the number 0438 155 544. Okay, you can see it just in that bottom left-hand corner up on the screen there, if you need to do that. And then to bid, you can do two things, because you will receive a text that's verifying your registration. So you can SMS your bid with your lot number, the amount you want to bid, or through your welcome text that you'll get, you can click on the blue link and that will take you to your own personal bidding page. Now, once you've placed your bid, you'll actually be notified by another text if someone outbids you. So you can sit in your chair, relax, and follow and track your bids that way. And of course, if you need to stretch your legs, go out and have a bit of a look as well. So you will be notified. Watch the screens for all the updates. And we will close the silent auction at 3:30 today. So I'll give you plenty of warning before we do that. Now, joining us here in the room is some South Australian sporting royalty. We are talking superstars. There's some pictures just behind me on the screen. showing who these people are, and many of them do have a link to prostate cancer. Magarey medalist, Norwood champ Michael Aish is in the room. Welcome along, Michael. Great to see you along here. SA footy legend Neil Kerley, the incomparable Neil Kerley is here. Welcome along, Curls. What about this Melbourne Cup winning jockey, Johnny Letts? I saw Johnny moments ago. What a lineup. Olympic gold medalist Stewie O'Grady. Welcome to Stewie. And multiple Olympic medalist Rachel Spawn. Not Rachel Spawn, Rachel Spawn. That's right, isn't it, Rach? Okay, so great to have those guys here. They're going to join us a little bit later on, give us some insights into their experiences with prostate cancer. Also, Adelaide Football Club Chairman Rob Chapman is with us. Welcome along to Rob. Great to see you here. And my Channel 7 colleague and Rob's opposite number, David Kosh, is in the room too. So Koshy just got off the kite, straight from Sunrise, and he's here as well. So both of those gentlemen are going to join me a little bit later on too to have a little bit of a chat about how we're going with things. Now, you all know Peter Walsh, of course, very passionate sports nut. He is ABC radio man that is involved in everything and often wears the brightly coloured shirts. Pete has had his own battles with prostate cancer. He was here to join us today, but unfortunately has taken ill. So our thoughts are with Peter at the moment. So hopefully we wish him a speedy recovery. Now, this bringing back the Friday lunch is the brainchild of one man, and a lot of people got on board to help him. I'm, of course, talking about someone that we all know very well here in South Australia. He is the South Australian Chair of the Prostate Cancer Foundation of Australia. His name, of course, is Mr. Michael Brock. Can you please welcome him up to the stage?
Thanks, Soda, and also for you giving up all of your time to come along today. So it's a thankless job often, the MC role, but Soda, really appreciate it. More particularly to everybody in the room for your fantastic support for Prostate Cancer Foundation of Australia, and particularly here in our South Australian division, and to all the table captains who've worked so hard to get tables together. We're honoured that the PCFA Australian Chairman, Mr. Jim Hughes, AM, has flown in today from Sydney to attend today's lunch. Jim, welcome to South Australia. We're also absolutely delighted that the charismatic David Kosh has flown in, and he'll be interviewing the legends a little bit later. Thanks, David. He's given up his time and expertise. I really appreciate it, Koshy. Thank you for coming over. Functions like this don't happen by themselves, and we're overwhelmed that around about 580 of you have come to support prostate cancer today. I'd like to acknowledge our incredibly hard-working board, filled with highly credentialed people who each contribute their specific expertise. Thanks to all of you. It's a very, very robust and hard-working board, and each of them have brought at least one table here today. The Bring Back the Friday Lunch Subcommittee have put literally hundreds of hours into today, often over a couple of glasses of wine, as you'd expect, with Karen involved. My Deputy Chair, David Baker, has been great. His contribution has been absolutely superb. The effervescent Margie Andrawatha has put together an incredible 15 tables for today. And my beautiful wife, Susan Brock, has also put 12 together. Between them, they've almost got half the room. Peter Hurley has done a fabulous job in negotiating with the Stadium Management Authority, and Andrew Daniels, who's been very supportive. Our incredible CEO, Karen Foster, and her right-hand girl, Janie Green, we call them Batman and Robin, have done a brilliant job, as has the function coordinator, Deb Budich from D Business Events, who's been highly professional, and to the numerous volunteers who have put this together today and have been here since first light. To our major sponsors, The Advertiser, Sunday Mail, thanks Aish, Channel 7, thanks Tony Davison, who've both given us extensive media coverage, Solitaire, who have so generously provided a car for the auction, and many others whose logos will be running across the board for most of the day, but probably a bit too numerous to mention. Thank you all. All of the wine, beer and water, for example, has all been donated for today. Everyone on stage today and all of the silent and major auction contributors have done so free of charge, and we thank you very much indeed for your incredible generosity. To our speakers, all of whom have been affected in some way by prostate cancer and will be interviewed by Koshi and entertain you, together with the brilliant Becky Blake and the dancing girls from Martine Quigley Dance Education. Particularly Neil Kerley, AM, as he pointed out to me last night at dinner. It was left off the invitation list, the fact that he was AM. Very quick to point that out. Michael Aish, John Letts, Stuart O'Grady, Rachel Spawn, OAM, and Rob Chapman. Thank you all very much indeed. And of course, as Soda mentioned, to Peter Walsh, who's here in spirit. So to prostate cancer, it kills more men every year in Australia than breast cancer kills women. People don't know that, and yet we just don't have the profile. The problem is that men won't get tested. The "I'll be okay" attitude that's just sort of meant to be macho, but it's silly. Early detection is critical. It's a very good friend of mine and a business colleague here today who's donated all the signage that we've got for the event, Steve Banwell. And he's happy for me to mention this. He's a classic example. He's 52, had a test at the start of the year, this year, which was positive, had the operation, and just last week found out that it's all clear. It's because, and I've been busting to use this for a long time, he got off his ass and had his prostate test. Seriously, that's what he did. He got going, he got it, and got it done. And you'll hear a bit later on people who didn't and aren't here today. And ladies, if your man doesn't have a test and won't have a test, nag until he bloody well does if you want to keep him around. I've actually deleted another option there. Thank you all again for your time. I really do hope you bid on the auction items and the silent auction items. That system is actually quite easy to work through on your phone. There's auction items, there's the table raffle, the wine wall, etc., as we raise money for research and awareness. This function will finish between 3:30 and 4 o'clock, and in the tradition of bringing back the Friday lunch, we'll be kicking on at the Wellington Hotel. Slight conflict of interest to announce there that my son and I own it. But anyway, it does happen to be the closest place to go back for a watering hole. It's about 7 or 8 minutes up the road, and James has got a lot of staff back there, so you bloody well better be there. And now I'd like to introduce the surgeon who is on our board and has operated successfully on Steve Banwell. He specialises in the robotic, Da Vinci machine, which the incomparable Gordon Pickard, who's an apology here today, but his son Mark is here, donated to the hospital. Gordon has been just an absolutely unbelievable donor to not just prostate cancer, but charities in South Australia. Dr. Peter Sutherland is the man I'm talking about, who's the senior surgeon at the RAH for the last 30 years, and for 20 years he's been head of urology. He's head of the robotic surgery at the Royal Adelaide Hospital, the first program in Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, please make him welcome, listen to him. Then we get on to entree and then fun and entertainment for the rest of the day. Have a great day, guys, and I really appreciate you coming along. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry, I'm the serious bit. The PCFA is a fantastic national organisation, and it stands for awareness of this disease, support of sufferers, and research into how we can make it better. So they're the guiding lights of PCFA. Now, really the sad thing to start off with is that I'd like you to all to guess where is the most likely place in the world that you can get prostate cancer? Unfortunately, it's here in South Australia. we have the highest incidence of prostate cancer in the world. But we have the second best cure rate in the world after the United States. So we are really working hard and getting some good results. In the last 20 years, we've seen a 25% drop in mortality. When I started my journey in this area in the 1980s, close to half the patients with prostate cancer would come along with spread disease, and most of those men ended up with castration and dying a few years later from painful bony spread prostate cancer. Now it's less than 10% who go down that path. Now, it's only through huge personal and financial investments that we have started to turn the ship around. There's massive investment into radiotherapy, and very recently there are two very important stereotactic radiotherapy machines that have come into Adelaide. There is really important investment into PET scan machines, MRI machines. All these things cost millions and millions of dollars. So I'm very pleased that people are working to make it better. But for me, about 11 years ago, a bloke called Gordon Pickard came through my office door, and I was told he was a wealthy bloke, and I found out that he had prostate cancer, so I arranged for him to go to Melbourne, where they'd just started a robotic program. And really, his operation was done. He was back in Adelaide in 24 hours, and I know about 3 days later, he was standing in the middle of Hindmarsh Stadium launching the Adelaide United soccer team. He told me later it was a fairly painful experience for him. Pain as in not painful. But now, he came back a few days later after that and said to me, "Peter, why don't we get one of these machines in Adelaide?" And I did say to him, "Gordon, you are aware they cost $3 million. And he said, "Peter, that won't be a problem." So he got the thing kick-started, and really, so through the last 11 years, we have removed here in Adelaide around 3,000 men's prostates. And I know that because I've done half of them. Now, you wonder, there's a big pile of prostates come out, and you wonder what's happened to all that prostate tissue, and I can tell you, if any blokes have lost them, you're looking for them, they're in a big fridge at the Samry building. Over here on North Terrace. A big fridge. And that fridge is constantly being worked at by some absolutely brilliant researchers, a team led by Lisa Butler, who is one of Australia and the world's top prostate cancer researchers. She works here in Adelaide. She has received through the Movember and the PCFA a multi-million-dollar grant to get this work going. She has fantastic techniques where she'll get fresh prostate and they will grow it. These prostates are kept alive. They're not allowed to bloody die, and they keep them alive, and they test new agents, new chemicals that are possibly going to be useful in prostate cancer therapy. And this is work that no one else in the world is doing. So here in Adelaide, we are at the forefront. Now, also in the basement of the Samry building, there is a marvellous new machine called a cyclotron. And this cyclotron, again, multi-million-dollar investment. It's pouring out really important new radionuclides, these little chemicals that really will only last for perhaps an hour or two. And we've got one that's called gallium we can attach onto PSA and stick it in a bloke. And if a man has spread cancer, this chemical, which only lasts about an hour and a half with PET scanning, will light up where the cancer is in their bodies. This is brand new stuff that's starting off again here in Adelaide. And then beyond that, this same cyclotron is working on new chemicals, which heavy-duty radioactive chemicals we can again attach to PSA and stick it back in, and this will cure that cancer where it's spread into people's bodies. So again, important research. And all this requires lots and lots of money. But it all comes back to the PSA, this wretched blood test again, and it's so controversial. And again, the PCFA has been leading awareness and has been trying to get the appropriate kind of awareness going, and the PCFA has got Professor Willis Marshall AC, who has set up a group looking at guidelines for the proper use of PSA testing here in Australia. And I must say, Willis is probably the only person in the whole nation, I think, who could do this, because there are so many arguments about this test, it's very hard to get any consensus, and Willis has achieved that. So that I think we are now getting into a really good place with this disease. I think the PCFA has got towards better awareness. I think we're getting better support and better treatment, and we certainly now are working down the path of focused research. So I hope you have a great lunch, and thank you for coming along.
Thank you to Dr. Peter Sutherland. I noticed, Peter, as you mentioned, it's such a hot spot here in South Australia for prostate cancer. There's a few blokes shifting uncomfortably in their seats because they know what is to come. Make sure you do go and get tested next week if you haven't had that done before. To Brocky, well done, mate, on putting all this together so far. You're going to be back with the auction a little bit later on. A couple more things I want to touch on just before we break for the entree. The wine wall is up there, $20 a bottle. 300 bottles are up there. $20 for one bottle, $50 for three. Don't unwrap them once you get them. Save them because we're going to wrap them a little bit later. There is a surprise there. There was a $600 3-litre bottle of Moet and Chandon linked to one of the bottles as well. The cash raffle, $10 per person on the table. Just nominate someone on your table as a captain. $100 per table. We'll draw out one table later. You get $1,000. For that table centrepiece, if you like French champagne, you can bid on that a little bit later on. Michael Brock will tell you all those details when he does his auction. Enjoy your entree. We'll be back shortly. Thank you.
Directed it to the square. Woodcock trying to work out. The hand pass into the feet of Aish. Cleverly back. Gongs it onto his left boot. Magnificent football.
Here's a charge to Michael Aish. He's got plenty of time. Steadies in towards an open goal. Will wait on the umpire. Umpire goes Caldwell. No worries. Straight to the middle.
Dumped forward further afield by the Eagles. Hannah loses it. Chance for Norwood now. Michael Aish. Oh, he's done it.
Lead on from Thomas. Goes towards Michael Aish, and he marks centre half forward. Plays on quickly. Steadies into an open goal. And he's made no mistake whatsoever.
Noble takes possession and boots towards the pocket. Michael Aish. And away he goes. Hares into Moore's goal. Has a bounce. Keeps running. Puts it down now. Chips across the Mutler. Beautiful football by Michael Aish. Trying to work clear. Scanlon still in there. Gives it to Aish. And Norwood out of defence. Jenkins providing the shepherd. He's kept Anderson at bay well. Aish up the outer side. Keith Thomas drops into the space. The hand pass is over. Thomas settles. Harvey closes, but the ball's away. Running into trouble. Gets out of that and hooks with one towards Aish. Oh, what a mark. What a player. Not enough superlatives to describe Michael Aish. Almost a complete footballer. I'm sure that Neil Baum, as with any coach in league football today, dearly loves to have this man in his side. This could be his 7th goal. It is, in fact. That's a match-winning performance by Michael Aish.
Winning to me was very, very important. I hated losing, and I hated people that didn't really play to win hard enough.
A lot of people don't get to 80, and a lot of people get to 80 and they're just about stuffed. But I feel there's still life out there, there's adventure out there still to go.
Well, I feel great. You know, 50, 60 years ago, I thought, look at that silly old devil, he should be dead. He'd be around 80, I reckon. 80, your life just starts. You know, as long as you've got your brain, a bit of good health, which I'm a bit lucky I've got. Look, every day's an adventure. My thoughts was, if you want the damn ball, get it. Get it. And it doesn't matter who's standing there or who's in your way or who you got to beat, who you got to push over. Get it, or try and get it.
How was your relationship with the umpires?
I had a fantastic relationship with them. I hated the bastards.
Really? How would you like to be remembered?
As a person that gave everything he possibly had to win.
feel it burn down this river every turn. Hope is our four-letter word. Make that money, watch it.